historically kind of had really only two roles in TeamSense. There's been an employee role, and they can fill out their absences, receive communicate messages, they can access the portal. And then there's the admin role, who can see and use all of the different features in TeamSense for their particular scope, whether it's the entire company or a particular site. The team leader role is a role that was designed for managers and supervisors. It gives a limited view of what an admin might see, enough for a manager to be able to respond to absences and effectively manage their team, but not so much that it's going to overwhelm them with functionality. So specifically, a team leader has on-demand access. So team leaders, similar to admins, are going to have an email and password login where they can go to app.teamsense.com, whether from their phone or from their desktop, log in and access their absence history for their particular team. The attendance history for their team can include survey responses or not. So that's a decision that can be made by your organization on whether team leaders should be able to see absence form responses. Most of you have opted to do that, and that is the default. But if you have concerns about that, you're welcome to reach out to our team at support@teamsense.com, and we can go ahead and hide those for you. And then they also have access to some basic employee info. So I'm going to go ahead and actually just show you. There's no better way to understand this than to get a sneak peek. So this is actually what a team leader sees in TeamSense. So this probably looks familiar for any of you who are current customers and are admins in TeamSense. You'll recognize this view as your attendance summary. And you'll see for this particular organization, they have enabled their team leaders to see absence responses. So I'm seeing here, for example, Arthur Dent, he submitted an absence indicating that he had a family emergency, and that's showing up as an unscheduled absence. In the event that your organization chose to hide those responses, this simply wouldn't show up for your team leaders. They wouldn't be able to see the details of what an employee mentioned in their absence form. And the reasons that you may choose to hide that could be concerns about privacy or health information that you may not want team leaders to see. So they have access to all this. They can navigate to and back and forth in the history. So if you're a manager and you're filling out time cards, if you don't remember who was out last Tuesday, TeamSense can go ahead and make that very clear for you. You'll notice that they don't have access to attendance insights right now, which is really showing sort of where, which sites or which teams have the highest absence rate. But that's something we're considering adding in the future. And so if that's something that you're interested in, we'd love to hear from you and kind of chat with why that would be interesting to you. On top of the attendance view, they also have a view of employees. Now, this view is scoped to everyone that's sort of below them in the organization. So anybody that reports up to that manager will automatically be shown here. And then if they're noted as a backup manager for anybody, they'll also see those teams here as well. So it's not the whole site, it's scoped to whomever you control in terms of what they need to see. They'll be able to click into any of these employees similar to an admin. So if we go ahead and let's just go ahead and look at Arthur, we can see that unscheduled absence that we saw earlier. But you'll notice that they only have access to the status calendar. So none of the other typical pieces of functionality that you would see here as an admin, they don't appear for a team leader. They also have some very light editing access. So they can edit an employee's demographic info, so like their name, if they have a language preference, and their contact information. But they won't be able to edit things like employee ID or what site they belong to or their manager, or even their groups. So these kinds of pieces of information stay the purview of the admins only and can only be edited by you. And then finally, they do have the ability to add an absence if they so choose. So let's say an employee reaches out directly to a supervisor for some reason, or doesn't use TeamSense, so it's not automatically stored. Maybe there's even a no call, no show, and the supervisor wants to add that into TeamSense. They can go ahead and do so. And so that capability has been provided to them as well. You'll notice up at the top, there isn't a communicate tab and there isn't a portal tab. So team leaders don't have the ability to send any communicate messages at this time, and they have no control over what links and information show up in the portal. So a really lightweight version of what sort of the admin experience looks like, giving supervisors and managers exactly what they need, but not burdening them with a bunch of extraneous things.